right, guys. Let's get started. I know we always have a few stragglers that end up doubling or tripling our attendee or participant count. But let's not wait. Let's get started. In an effort to keep a good track record, let's keep this to 30 minutes every couple of weeks, but give you guys some really good updates. I'm going to share my screen. I hope everyone is staying safe and dry. We've had some gnarly weather kind of get in our way a little bit across different parts of the country. I hope everyone is safe too. There's obviously some civil unrest that was affecting many of the cities that we're all citizens of. So I'll spend a few minutes talking about that and how it impacts TaskEasy and how it impacts you guys. But let's jump in. As a reminder, you guys are muted by default. If you have questions, please throw those into the chat. And I hope that within a couple days, we're following up on a lot of your questions, depending on the nature of the question. I do hand everything over. I scan through the chat myself if there's time left at the end of the call, but do hand that off to the contractor support team to follow up if there are specific questions you guys might have. So here's our agenda for today. Excited to talk about our new TaskEasy Contractor app. I teased it 2 weeks ago that we have a new version for you guys that has a lot of improvements. It looks a little prettier, I'll say that, but most of the improvements are under the hood and behind the scenes. So really good performance reviews. Some of you may have been helping us test the 1.5 version. So for that, I'm thankful because now we have a brand new version in the App Store that's ready to download. So I'll share a little bit about that. When we talk about your safety, we talk about timeliness of performing properties, and we talk about civil unrest and we talk about everything else that's going on this year. It's been a crazy year. There are a couple of things that matter most. One is your safety, first and foremost, and then the safety of the residents and neighbors that you may interact with or come across. Most people are working from home these days, and so the likelihood of interacting with somebody is really high now. And what are the some of the obligations that you guys have as a contractor for TaskEasy, and then what are helpful reminders for you guys, again, to keep you and your crew safe, keep your property and your equipment safe as we get through some sort of tough times right now. Want to talk about pre-existing damage. There have been a handful of events that have popped up, so I want to just use that as a reminder to talk through kind of what the process is. I want to talk about, and this isn't my phrase, although we use it a little bit here at TaskEasy internally, but this is a phrase that many of you guys have used with us, whether it's in the field or on some phone calls, but just that get it done mentality. I want to talk about how that applies to what you guys are doing every day on properties, and how you can make some money in the process. I want to cover some do's and don'ts, just another good opportunity to remind you guys of what the expectations are while at a property. Want to remind and maybe clarify the difference between the potential for on-site work and using our on-site line versus submitting bids, because we're oftentimes submitting bids or seeing bids submitted from you guys that could just be taken care of by calling in. And so how do you monetize your time on the property a little more effectively and avoid submitting bids when you could just get the work done while you're there? And as always, a route optimization update, have some really exciting news for you guys there. And then want to recognize a couple contractors as we've sort of done in the past. So let's get started. New TaskEasy Contractor app. You guys designed it. It was built on your feedback. It's made for you, and in large part made by you. So appreciate those of you again that helped us with some beta testing. Key things here, guys, are faster upload speeds. We also upload photos in the background. So what we had a problem with was that the former version of the app, if you had low to no signal environments, which happens, it's a reality of working out in the field, Sometimes the photos wouldn't upload and allow you to move to the next step of marking that job complete. We've solved for that, where you can upload all of your photos, and in the background, the app will continue to attempt to upload the photos while you enter areas that have stronger signal strength. So that's a really exciting update, because you can take all your photos, upload them, mark the job complete, and move on to the next property without having to sit there and wait for the upload to happen. You have a new schedule view, which allows you to sort a little easier. It's a little bit faster. A better task layout, better job layout, and a handful of other features that we have in store. So right now, we just wanted to get some of the basics launched, but most of the improvements are behind the scenes. So the app is a lot more stable. My hope is that you never hear us ask you to restart the app, uninstall the app. I mean, that's not really troubleshooting in general. But you should have far fewer problems using the app out in the field. We wanted to give you guys a really lean, powerful piece of software for you guys to use. So it's now available in the Android and Apple stores. And keep an eye out over the next week, 2 weeks, for some announcements on when we're really going to start to push you guys over to the new version. But you can go and download it today if you're interested. Let's jump into conflict and what it means to de-escalate conflict. It's almost like, given an argument you might have with your spouse or a coworker, either one of you has the opportunity to de-escalate. And I want to make sure that you guys know that it's expected that you guys take that role of taking the higher road, really, and de-escalating if there's the potential for conflict on a site. There have been a couple of recent events where some contractors have been involved in physical altercations. Some of it was mutual. Some of them haven't been mutual. Some of it, you whip out a phone and you start taking pictures. We live in an environment right now where people get pretty nervous. And some of you have your own preparation, let's call it. But I don't think there's ever a need or ever a reason to let conflict play out while you guys are at a property. It's just not worth it. So first and foremost, you guys got to keep yourself safe, keep your crew safe, keep your property safe, keep your equipment, right? Your trucks and your equipment safe. So that really is the sort of first order priority. If you guys aren't safe, then no one wins. You're not going to be able to perform service. Something bad might happen. Police get called, ambulance gets called, that sort of thing. If you do notice that a resident is home, or a customer, a homeowner is home, acknowledge that they're on site and from a distance. We have COVID, we have civil unrest, we have unemployment. There's a lot of factors playing into high tension levels right now. Communication can win most of the time. And so if you just acknowledge and tell them you're performing service on behalf of TaskEasy, you're here for your scheduled, lawn service, 90% of the time, that's not, no questions asked. Sometimes neighbors get involved. Doing the exact same thing should solve most of your problems. We do understand that sometimes, neighbors in certain parts of town, certain properties, whatever the case may be, that neighbors may, feel like you're taking pictures of something that they might not be doing legally. That can put them on the offensive. If there's any risk of conflict, just de-escalate, walk away, and then let us know. If the tenant refuses services, this is one that's popped up a few different times recently. For your safety and theirs, accept the request, leave the property, and then call us and explain the situation. It's not going to ding your performance. We're already keeping an eye on what your average completion rates are and your average fulfillment, and your average quality scores are. So we already know. For those of you that have already asked us, well, what's going to happen if people take advantage of that? A little bit of an honor system here, but we do have some data that we're looking at to make sure that people don't take advantage of it and it doesn't unfairly punish people that are using this if something does happen. So pretty basic principles, but guys, don't don't argue with residents. Don't argue with neighbors. If there's potential for conflict, acknowledge them, walk away, and move on without your day. It'll just mess up the rest of your day. It'll put the rest of your jobs and put the rest of our jobs at risk. There's really no upside if there's a potential for conflict. Reporting pre-existing damage. This is another just good reminder. Protect yourselves. Protect yourselves from costly insurance claims, but just protect yourself. But more importantly, what I don't want you guys to forget is your eyes on the property for many of our properties, many of our clients. We like that. We actually sell the value of that to our clients, and in some cases, you're on the property more often than they are. So documenting damage does more than just cover your ass. It provides us with really valuable content and really valuable media, right? Pictures and descriptions, the front door, the back door, right? Are there squatters? Has something happened to the property that the asset owner needs to know about? That's valuable information. So it serves two purposes to document pre-existing damage. One, it protects you. And two, it provides us with information we can relay to our clients such that they can go and investigate what's been happening at their property. Pretty easy here, guys. Take a photo before beginning your work, submit it via the app under additional photos. So there's an additional photo section, just upload those photos there. Report the damage and complete the work. It's pretty simple. After submitting those photos, just text us or call us or email us. All of that stuff is in the app, and just you can attach those photos there if you want, but just let us know there's pre-existing damage. Unless it's preventing you from servicing the property, just get the rest of the work done. And again, reminder, read the task descriptions, look for the entire scope of work. Reporting damage. So on the other side of things, if there's not pre-existing damage, if it's damage that you or your crew have caused, be honest and let us know. No one's going to get in trouble. When people get in trouble and when things go sideways is when people try to hide it from us, because eventually the client will find out that the asset has been damaged. And guess what? If it's not reported under pre-existing damage, it looks as if everyone is hiding something and no one wins. So again, if you throw a rock through a window, one, try to take the necessary precautions. You guys are the experts. You know which precautions to take so that you can not chuck rocks through windows. But if it happens, let us know, right? This is the same sort of, just the honesty policy. I can't say more about how much we rely on it with you guys. Again, it's a big black eye if you guys are trying to hide stuff from us, because eventually the asset owner will find out. So I appreciate the majority of you guys being very forthcoming, letting us know that something happened. This is particularly important as it relates to downspouts. Guys, we got a lot of rain rolling through the country. It's that time of year. It's that time of the season. Put the downspouts back. If the gutters are broken, if the gutters are clogged, it's actually an opportunity to make some money if you can report that to us. But report gutter damage. But more importantly, and it's not necessarily damage, but if you didn't put the downspouts back pointing out towards the yard. And in some cases, I've seen properties when I've walked them over the past couple of weeks where the downspouts, you can tell where the grass isn't growing under the downspouts. A lot of you guys are moving the downspouts and replacing them back to where they belong. But in some cases, you're not. And what happened, you can tell because the grass is yellow underneath the downspouts. Sometimes it's being pointed. I'm not calling anybody out, but you're pointing it, away from the lawn, which is, likely back towards the house. Well, guess what happens when the rain comes? Rain drains down through the downspout and you have water pointing towards the house. And for houses that have basements, I mean, that's a bigger problem, right? Than broken windows. So report damage it caused, report pre-existing damage. Guys, just report stuff on the property whenever it comes across. It's helpful information and it helps you move about your day. Fewer calls from us and fewer calls from you guys. Just get it done. This one's a fun topic. I don't know how many of you guys come across properties where there's a little bit of extra work to be done, but because you're probably flying through your job and flying through service, you probably think not worth the time, not worth a bid. Don't submit a bid. This is a picture. These are a couple pictures of a property, and I took a couple different pictures of different properties. These are a couple examples of work that we would have approved on site. Clients, if there's any opportunity to perform out of scope services that help make the property just a little bit nicer and show and present a little bit better for prospective residents, call us and let us know. For example, trimming some of the growth through, the bricks in the backyard, raking up one side of the house. It just so turns out that this property, I mean, if this is what the leaves look like, imagine what the gutters look like. I didn't take pictures of the gutters because I didn't have a ladder with me, but I could see from afar that, the gutters are no longer a gutter, they're a planter. There's an opportunity, with gutters, that could be $100 to $150 depending on the size of the property. But for services like this, I'd estimate that this is a total of $45. This is just one side of the property. This is the backyard here on the right. For $45, it probably takes you 20 minutes at most. That's an effective $135 per hour. And imagine if you could do that on 2 or 3 properties every single day. Imagine if you just did it on one property every single day. That could be an extra couple $100 a week, $1,000 in incremental revenue per month. So guys, I encourage you to keep it coming. But in order to expedite, some of these calls and some of these responses, try to use our on-site line, which I've listed here at the bottom. So please take note of that. We have a support team that's manning the phones up until 7 p.m. Eastern. We're ready to take your call. If you guys are out there and you see an opportunity to make the property look a little bit nicer, there's a really good chance that we'll approve it. Most of our negotiations with our asset owners provide us a little bit of extra funds to beautify the property. We just need evidence. So go out there and make some more money. Here are a couple more examples. Clients will pay for this all day long. We'll pay for this all day long, guys. This is a carport, little porch in the front. We're also seeing, and this is just a seasonal thing, we're also seeing some branches that have fallen. I appreciate you guys that are out there moving branches to the side to just, that gets in the way of mowing the lawn. But man, if you can pick up the branches, we'll pay an extra $5 or $10. I know you got to probably, save some of that stuff to make it to the dump, but leaving branches on the property just looks a little sloppy. Even though it's not in the scope of work, give us a call. Let us know that you need a couple bucks to go and pick up branches at a couple different properties. That'll more than cover your dump fee and your time. So again, help us all make a little bit of extra money. And related to that, I want to clarify the difference between submitting a bid and calling on site. Pretty simple difference here. Calling on site is anything inside the scope of work that requires additional funds or light maintenance, or some of those very, very mild and small out of scope items. And then submitting a bid is anything that's significant. Trimming a large tree, removing a large tree. Maybe a tree has fallen. Maybe there's bush trimming that you're estimating that's probably $100. Maybe it's a big property. Maybe it's gutter clearing. Gutter clearing is probably a bid project. But some of the photos I just showed you, some of those $15, $30 services that you can do a couple different times a day, all of that, call us on site. Maybe good general rule of thumb is anything that's less than $100, call on site. Anything that's probably over $100, send us a bid. And again, I've listed the on-site number here on the bottom left. A good example of a bid, just as a reminder, here's what you have: some tree trimming and some bush trimming. Be descriptive. The more information, the better. I know you guys can't all, you're not carrying laptops in your cars. I get that. Sometimes, it takes a couple minutes to go and type that thing out on your phone. But but save it. Maybe batch a couple of these and get it done at the end of the day. But let us know. It's an opportunity. Send us the photos. Send us what your proposal is for, and we'll try to cycle those things as fast as possible. Here's an example of a bad bid. Obviously, no photos, very minimal information, and very minimal description. Obviously, guys, we can't go and help you get paid and go get this custom task on your schedule if you don't give us enough information. So good things to keep in mind. Do's and don'ts at a property. Pretty simple, guys. Bring a mower, bring equipment, really, that's fit for the job. We got a lot of backyards that aren't getting serviced because the equipment format is too wide. What that means is we have to take inventory of all of those properties that have a 36-inch gate, for example, and we have to find guys that have the right format equipment and give all those properties to them. I do appreciate some of you that have raised that flag and in fact given us that list of properties. And I do appreciate you guys aren't tearing down the fences or trying to peel those fences back and then replace them and do more damage and make it look worse than when you found it. But bring the right equipment for the job. Pick up and remove debris. Don't mow over trash. Mowing over trash will get us fired and get you removed from properties pretty quickly. Report those property enhancements. Again, that's an opportunity to make some money. And again, drip lines, downspouts. And guys, if you found, if you shown up on a property that may have been serviced by a different guy the last time, and you see that the downspouts aren't pointing to where they should, it takes 2 seconds to just kick that downspout back out towards the yard. Treat the property as if it were your own, or if it were your neighbor's or your aunt's or your grandma's house. And then on the don'ts column, don't remove fences, don't tamper with the overall property. Leaving incidental debris or running it over, just again, don't do that stuff. It doesn't do anything but get us all in trouble. And then don't intentionally leave out some of those property enhancements. I know you guys are trying to crank out sometimes 15, 20, 25 properties a day. That's a lot. And you're trying to move through so quickly, it almost looks like neglect. Even though we'll never hold you accountable for it, it just looks a little sloppy if you don't take the opportunity to let us know that there's a few extra pieces of work that can be done. Again, picking up some of those tree branches. And again, we'll try to pay you for it. And then don't ignore the small fixes. Again, guys, pretend it's your grandma's house. You wouldn't leave your grandma's house with a downspouts pointing back towards a window well. And then some exciting news, route optimization. Now this is cool. I told you guys 2 weeks ago that we had some exciting news for you. We're gonna try to deliver some more predictability. Well, we released some technology that's allowing us to do two different things, two different approaches to giving you predictability. So same high value route building technology, just more predictability. And so for some of you in Phoenix, actually for everybody in Phoenix, starting next Tuesday is our plan. You will see routes for 3 days out. And then every day you'll see an additional day scheduled. So for example, you'll see your Tuesday through Thursday routes next Monday. You'll see your Wednesday through Friday routes next Tuesday, and so on and so forth. So I have that here on the right-hand side. You can see that schedule there. So we're testing a rolling 3-day window. This allows us to still keep on time and on schedule with property service due dates without wrecking schedules too much 4 or 5 days out. Our ultimate goal is to test this for 3 days out and then get to a full 5 days. So this is a step to help us get to that point. So that'll be rolling out in Phoenix next week. Excited about that one. And then in Charlotte, Raleigh, and St. Louis, we're working on a 5-day outlook. Now we're not rerouting or adding, the 5th day. We're not adding days. We're just giving you 5 days, based on your capacity, based on the hours that you've given us, based on the days that you've got your own work and you've got opportunity to work for us. We're giving you up to 5 days out, Monday through Friday. And so what we'll do is every weekend run through and figure out who didn't complete their properties, and figure out whether those are going to remain late or they need to belong on someone else's schedule and they'll get the work. So if you're in any of these 4 markets, all of these, Charlotte, Raleigh, and St. Louis, that's in motion. For you guys in those markets, get those jobs done. I know it's drying out a little bit. Hopefully, a lot of those jobs don't carry over into the next day and they're not too late. You got to get this stuff done by the end of the week. Hopefully nothing from Tuesday spills all the way over to Friday. If it needs to go into the next day, that's okay, but you got a lot of properties with due dates. You got a lot of homeowners as well that rely on specific due dates. So you need to make sure you're prioritizing those on the day that it's scheduled. So just kind of a brief update on predictable future schedules as part of our route optimization technology. I know there's a lot of other markets out there that we're still doing the daily scheduling. We're working on expanding this as fast as possible. So this is an update as part of that effort. Now I want to talk about something that's still somewhat related to this. I've had a number of conversations with you guys. Some of our support teams have had conversation with you guys. And every time we talk about route optimization, oftentimes you guys are asking, well, can you route my properties along with yours? And does that help with predictability for the week? The answer is yes. So what I want to do is I want to invite you guys to let me know if you want to volunteer in a pilot program to route both your book of business, your properties, your own book with ours. And we can start to work on a plan that can book out 5 days every single week and use our technology to rearrange your day of weeks that give you the highest revenue per mile and the highest effective revenue rate. So, what is your effective hourly rate? How can we take that from $60 to $90? How can we take it from $90 to $120? Our routing technology is built to do just that, but it's only been built to perform that function on our properties. Many of you have your own book of business. If we can do it with our properties and your own book, man, that's fire in a bottle. I do want to let you know that we are looking for a few volunteers. We could probably only manually test this in a couple different markets with a couple different contractors. But if you're interested, please email me. This is my direct email. It's not a shared inbox or anything. I'm interested. I want to stay close to this. I know a lot of you have been asking about, how can we use TaskEasy technology for your own business? Some of the things we're going to need are addresses for those properties, the scope if possible, day of week, and if that's flexible. Sometimes you have your own homeowners, your own customers, where you've got a very fixed day of week that you can't mess with. And I know sometimes you're flexible. Estimated service duration, we can tie that in with scope. And then if you have a price point that you want to share, that'll help us incorporate, our payout with your price to engineer the highest route value per day as possible. So pretty exciting opportunity for you guys if you're willing. But I'm taking volunteers. If you guys just want to email me, I'll get with the team and then we'll reach out in the next few weeks to talk about next steps. So that's our update on route optimization. And then I want to talk about some contractor awards. So we've got RCM Landscaping and then Lined Up Lawn Care. Roberto Cortez Moreno joined TaskEasy pretty recently, I think about a week and a half ago, and helped us in a really tough Seattle market, up and down the sort of SeaTac metro. Roberto performed a high level. I don't know if you're on the call, performed a really high level of quality, was on time. Some of these properties were overgrown. He was responsive. He called when he was on site. We approved the additional funds. And this week he's already on a tear. So I call out a newer guy only because there's a handful of folks that have had to join the network to hustle on some of these tougher properties, either geographically or just past due properties are overgrown. And we really appreciate the hard work, the dedication, the engagement even when facing, weather and, maybe some tough situations going on in a market. And then lined up lawn care. So Jonathan Falco, who I believe is in our Philly market, Philly, sort of Camden area. He's been with us for a while, but just has been a great partner, really responsive, really receptive for a lot of the same reasons. Spring turn on is just a nightmare for us, and it's a nightmare for you guys. You guys are trying to get warmed up. You're trying to get your frequencies increased with your own book of business. You're trying to incorporate our jobs into yours. And so these are two guys of many across the country that have really stepped up and helped us through some tough environments. And so we're looking forward to doubling down with these guys and everybody else on the call and everybody else out there that has shown that you got a high level of engagement and you're committed to showing up on time and performing a high quality work. So appreciate these guys and kudos to them. I'm going to stop sharing and then just scan through the chat, see if there are any questions. A lot of requests for work. We actually are now back up to 2019 volume, about touching 2019 volume. Some vacancy rates are starting to increase. We're also continuing to invest in our own homeowner and consumer acquisition. So property numbers are starting to get back up there. Guess who's going to be getting most of the properties? It's going to be most of the guys that are performing, that have good scores, performing high quality work on time. So there's a handful of questions about that. Some new app stuff. I'm going to forward that to our product team. Some old app stuff. That's why we built the new app. And then looks like it's a handful of just volume questions, and then some other, maybe some bid. I see some bid questions. I'm going to have our client team follow up with you on that. I see two of you that are asking about some bid follow up. So that's a pretty specific property or property specific question. I like some of you being candid and humorous, saying that this is your first Zoom call, and so welcome. This is the future, I guess. Most of us are working from home, TaskEasy, in an effort to keep our company safe, all of our employees safe. Are probably going to be working from home for the foreseeable future. I miss my team. I miss a lot of people in the office. So the best replacement for that is to see everybody on a screen, but it doesn't quite do us justice. Guess what? We still get to visit with all you guys out in the field when we do make it out there. So if we text you or if we call you, pick up the phone. We want to meet with you. Yeah, let's see. I think that's about it, guys. I'll wrap up. We're a couple minutes over. Appreciate everybody, as always. We do record this. Adrian Rasso, our head of contractor marketing, is going to try to take my 35 minutes of hot air and create bite-sized chunks to then blast out to you guys so you can download specific sections. So good luck to him. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. See you in 2 weeks.